We can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead and give us your name.
Right. My name is Joan Briggs, and I live in East Sussex on the south coast of England.
Wow.
Yes, Joan, I hope you've gotten your second picture.
We've still got our fingers crossed.
Are you kidding me?
Waiting every day.
I sent that out over a week and a half ago, I guess.
I am talking to him. Well, we watch the postman every day, and we know it'll come to us eventually. I'm so looking forward to it.
Well, I sent the first one, and I have no idea what happened to it, but the second one is definitely on its way to you.
Oh, good. I'm so pleased. Now, there's something really fascinates me, and that is the horses in the show, of course.
Uh-huh.
And they're so beautiful, aren't they? And the first 3 or 4 episodes in the first series, what was the horse? It wasn't Joe D, was it?
No. We had a sorrel horse named Monty, and he was a really good-looking horse and a big, tall horse. He was about 16 and a half hands, and he was looked great on film, but either through my inability to handle him or his inability to follow orders, whatever it was a combination of the two, I couldn't get him to stand still. I'd run him into a shot, and then he'd come to a stop, and we needed to be doing a whole scene of dialogue, and he wouldn't stand still long enough to let it happen. So I had to replace him, and Del Combs, the head wrangler on the Virginian, brought me this horse, Joe D, who he had found for me, and the horse was the best motion picture horse I ever saw. He was the kind of horse you could run all day, and as soon as you came to a stop, he'd stand there. And he wouldn't do anything more until you told him to do something more, or gave him an indication or a cue to do something more. He was a bright star in the show, and one thing that he would do that I've never seen another motion picture horse do consistently was to, if his head was between two people who were talking, if I would say something, his ears would come over and listen to me. And when the other man would reply, his ears would go over and he would listen to him.
Wow.
He listened to everybody, and it animated the scene, and was quite a marvelous and magical grace note to the whole construction of the Virginian, because he was always in the scene. When he was in the scene, he was always interested, and it gave you a feeling of life and vitality in the scene that we couldn't have gotten any other way, and I don't know any way you can train a horse to do that. So it seems to me that was a big advantage and a truly fine piece of luck to come up with that horse, and I loved him dearly. And he lived to be 37 years old up in the tall grass in Mariposa County, California. So.
And how long did you work with him? How long did you work with that horse?
For 8 years.
Good for you. Good for you.
We used him for 8 seasons, and we changed everything in the final season when we changed the title to The Men from Shiloh and decided we needed to change horses. So I got another horse, another Appaloosa, blanketed Appaloosa that Del had brought me that we worked with in that final year. But he was never the horse that Joe D was. He was a good-looking horse and did well, but he was never the horse that Joe D was as far as his motion picture ability.
That's lovely. We are looking forward to the real DVDs.
Go ahead and get them off the website, and we'll autograph them for you and send them over.
Yes, we should look forward to that. And we will cross our fingers and wait for this autographed photograph, which has a frame waiting for it ready.
Well, it had better get there this time, and if it doesn't, let us know, and I'll send it again.
I tell you what, the postman gets weary of me keep hopping about every morning when he goes, have you got it? Have you got it? Have you got it? Oh, dear.
I bet he'll be happy when you do get it.
I think he'll be relieved when we get it.
Hey, thank you very much.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
joining us. Okay, yeah, I know what happened, James. That one of those guys on a boat's got it on his dresser right now. You know, you're just too popular. When you become so popular, everybody wants them. Okay, we've got area code 641. Area code 641. You're on the line with James Drury. Can you go ahead and give us your first name?
Yes, my name is Astrid.
Okay.
And I've been a fan of the Virginian for over 30 years when I grew up in Germany as a teenager. So it's a real pleasure speaking with you for just a couple of moments.
Well, thank you, Astrid.
I also want to thank you for those 2 autographed photographs that you have sent me.
Oh, well,
I framed them to protect them.
Thank you.
It was really awesome.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you received them.
Yeah, I received them very quickly.
Well, this gal in England should have too, but maybe we've got a glitch in her address. I don't know. We'll have to investigate it. But
Yeah.
it's very kind of you to say that, and very sweet of you. What part of Germany did you grow up in?
The northern part.
Okay.
You may have heard of Hamburg.
Oh, yes.
Well, I'm west of Hamburg, near the Dutch border, a very small town.
Uh-huh.
And I used to watch the Virginian on Sunday afternoons.
Well,
Teenager.
it
And
was...
I haven't seen anything ever since until I found some clips on YouTube. And then I got to thinking, well, maybe there's something of the Virginian or of you, James Drury, on the Internet. So that's how I found your website.
Uh-huh.
I was very
Well,
pleased.
are you living in the United States at the present time?
Oh, yeah, I've been here for over 25 years, and I became a citizen last year.
Oh, wonderful. Where do you live now?
In Iowa.
Iowa.
In a small town.
Okay.
Again. Southeast Iowa.
Uh-huh. Well, I used to have some good friends in Burlington.
Oh, yeah, I know Burlington a little bit.
On
Actually, my son is in Fort Sam Houston, Texas right now.
Uh-huh.
It's not too far from where you live.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
And he's going to graduate next month as a combat medic.
Oh,
So
well,
I
that's...
will come to Texas. That's another child-long, lifelong dream fulfilling.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, we hope you enjoy Texas. I'm sure you will. There's a lot to see down here and a lot to enjoy.
Yeah, my son came home for Christmas and he said, "Mom, you're gonna love it here."
Well, I bet you will. Well, very nice to talk to you.
Yeah, and thank you very much for your time, and I'm really actually quite nervous.
Oh, well, don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. This won't hurt a bit.
No, it's not like the doctor's office.
Okay.
Thanks for
Thank you
joining
very
us.
Good day now.
Thanks for joining
Bye
us.
now.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Yeah, it's a real honor for everybody to talk to you, James. It's an honor for us to have you on our show. So this is a real
thank
treat.
you.
That's right. But we do have some lines open. You're welcome to call in now. I know a lot of you couldn't get in a while ago, but we do have lines open. And until we fill our lines back up, I get to ask some questions, and so does Sharon. We're having a ball here to be able to ask you some questions, James.
You go right ahead.
All right. Trampus. Let's talk about Trampus. You know, he seemed to be your sidekick during most of the show. Is that correct? Were y'all kind of like a team together mostly, or how was the relationship?
Pretty much. He played my top hand, which in a large ranching operation in those days, your top hand was the man who was in charge if the foreman wasn't there, and was in charge basically of a lot of operations around the ranch that the foreman would delegate to him, and he had a very responsible position and usually rode all the rougher horses and gentled them down so other people could ride them, and just a general all-around first-class cowboy, and also someone who was capable of great leadership ability when it was called for. And Doug was, well, he a very special man to me. I talked to him every day on the phone for 40 years. So I mean, not every day, but 2 or 3 times a week for 40 years. So you really miss a guy like that when he's not around anymore, and we miss him terribly every day. All of us who knew him, he was a incredible character. All he had to do was walk in a room, and people would start smiling. He had that effect on people.
Yeah, he seemed like a really nice guy.
We loved him dearly.
Yeah, seemed like.
And of course, he did a great job in the show, and many times, many of the shows featured him as the leading character because I would be busy with another show, or the Virginian character would be, and so we would have to have him carry all the mail in many episodes, and he did a marvelous job every time with everything he attempted. I can't ever find a way to fault him with his performances. And he worked in some material that was not first class, not really that good, and he made it much better than it was on the page, you know. So I have nothing but great admiration and love for him forever.
And then you also, and a lot of the listeners may not know this, but you grew up on a ranch. Why don't you tell them a little bit about that story, about your life coming up?
Well, I was born in New York City on Manhattan Island, and left there when I was 6 weeks old, traveling from New York to Oregon by family car. And we made that trip in my childhood some 18 or 20 times. My father was a professor at New York University, and my mother was an Oregon girl. And they, as soon as they married, they started acquiring, as they could, they started acquiring property, real estate in Oregon, and ranch property. And we had the first blueberry ranch in the Pacific Northwest was ever up there. Now there's thousands of acres under cultivation, but